with the forest one. Nice little charm there, lovely, made by Mel. And then on the front, a lot of this will become apparent as we go through and make it. It'll become clearer. But we've got some gold paint around the edges here. These papers just lend themselves to lots of fussy cutting nice little bits. All three packs. Hi Judith, certainly seem to do the trick. So I'm going to talk to you about how I've decorated it later on. But the book itself has a kind of a curved spine, but quite unusual binding, as in I haven't used this before, and it's a bit loose, but that kind of really fits with the book itself. But it will all become clear. So at the front here we've got a couple of little pockets that I've just put some of the cutter parts in, with some decoration. Now this book I actually wanted to put some photos in so that you could see it. Hi Elaine, hi Cindy. I wanted to put some photos in so you could actually see that it does work with photos. So that's why there's some little bits here that I've written about the walk. Hi Reka, you all right? Hi Gail. Like I said, there's some bits about the walk that I went on with my daughter when she was quite small, and my dad. But like I said, I just wanted to be able to show it with some photos. So on this page here, there's just that little pocket. There are just a little decoration here, really. You open it up and you've got this flippy flappy bit. Now you see there's some photos in there. This bit is actually really important. Hi Gwen. Hi Larissa, I'm doing this bit for you. This is actually really important, and it'll become clear why in a little while. But all I've done with the decoration is I've done things like I've torn bits of paper just to give it a bit of interest. There's bits of the lace. Now if you haven't had a kit and you're wondering what a lace collar is, this is all it was. It's a bit of lace that you could maybe put in a V-neck jumper or something for like a modesty thing. Hello, Megha, have I pronounced that right? Hi Lynn. Hi Pat. Gosh, everybody's here today. This is lovely. Audrey! Right. It is Audrey's birthday today. I would like to say we should sing happy birthday, but in England right now we're singing happy birthday twice when we wash our hands. So I think we all know that song really well, and you don't want me to sing. Really, you don't. Ask Mel. You don't want me to sing. But I think if we all say happy birthday to Audrey, because it's a very special day today. So happy birthday, Audrey. I hope you've had a really nice day despite everything that's going on, and that you've been spoilt rotten, and thank you for joining us this evening. So happy birthday. Right, so also I've just put bits of photos in of, see, we live in such a beautiful place. Yeah, thanks Mel, I'm not going to sing, I wouldn't upset. Pat, you weren't the only one. We live in such a beautiful place here right on the edge of Cannock Chase, which is, you know, a forest, and it's beautiful. So that was why these papers were so good for us. So another flippy flappy bit, very important. And then as we go through, I've got a few little flaps that I've added, which I will go into when we come to make the book, and then just onwards and the same all the way through. Okay, 6 pages. Each page is separate from each other, but how we bind it will become apparent. So I've been working on the Cosmos version, not finished yet, but just to give you a quick flick through of that so far. Once again, it's exactly the same. I've just put a little pocket in here, and then I'm just working my way through adding some interest. Okay, but that's actually going to show us quite clearly how the binding works in a minute. So what do you need to do? The first thing that we need to do, hi Julie, is cut our chipboard, grey board, whatever. Okay, so I've got some here. I can cut this on my trimmer, but I'm going to do it with a knife and a ruler, just to make Mark upset, because I know how he worries about me doing that, and it's just fun. And I've got a super sharp knife. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to get your piece of chipboard. This is, I think, is it 1500 microns? I can't even remember. It's the middle-sized one. And I want you to measure and cut 2 pieces at 4 1/4 inches. Okay, so you're not going to use a huge amount of chipboard. So you're going to measure 4 1/4 inches. And I'm just going to cut that. Look, I am using my safety ruler. Now, when I'm cutting chipboard, I find it's easiest so that I don't strain my my hand or my finger to cut lots of thin strokes, so I'm not pressing down all the time. So I think a lot of not too thick strokes is better. Tracy, I think it's 1500 microns, which means it's 1.5 millimeters. Hold on, let me, oh no, it's downstairs, isn't it, the measuring thing? I think
1.5.
no, it's not. It's 1 millimeter thick, so it's 1000 microns. Okay, Melanie, yes, that was exactly what I used as well. The rotary trimmer, the what's it called? I've got one right beside me. It's brilliant. Anyway, yes, I love it too. So, like I said, what we're doing now is we're cutting 2 pieces that are 4 1/4 inches each. You're going to measure it for me? I think it's 1000 microns. It should be
1.5.
Oh, it's 1.5. Okay, that was 1.5. Do you know what? Whether it's one millimeter or 1.5 millimeters, it really doesn't matter. It's not going to matter to the book at all. So I'm going to cut both pieces. And this is the worst of what we have to do, really, I think. That doesn't even look straight. No, it's near enough. Let's trim it off a bit. Right. Okay. So I've got 2 pieces that are 4 1/4 inch square. So I'm just going to put those to one side. Now what I have to do is I have to get my papers. Now I've chosen these ones which are 8 by 8, which makes it very, very easy to make our internal pages. And what I have to choose is I have to choose what I'm going to make my 6 pages out of, and I have to choose what I want on my front and my back cover. So when it comes to things like cutter parts, I tend to leave those alone. See, that is great for 2 pages. That's absolutely perfect, that one. So I'm going to take that to one side for my 2 pages. Same with that one. That's going to make me 2 pages. And let's have a look through. I think I'll use that one as well for my 2 pages. Okay, so I've chosen 3 sheets of 8 by 8 that I'm going to use for my pages, and now I need to decide what I'm going to put on my front and back cover. Now I kind of like these ladies' faces, so I'm thinking that might be nice for the front. for her. Decisions. Right, okay. So I'm going to get my great big trimmer now. And I'm going to cut these pieces for my pages. I'm going to cut them in half. So these are going to measure 4 by 8 inches. So here's my big trimmer, because one thing that I have realised with this not being able to get any craft supplies is that I haven't got any trimmer blades for my other trimmer, and it is well blunt. So right, so I'm just going to cut these in half. So I'm going to cut this at 4 inches. Okay, so I've got 2 pages there at 4 by 8 inches. And I'm going to do the same with the other 2 as well.
What's that paper called?
This is the Stamperia, or Stamperia, because I keep saying it wrong. Stamperia Imagine. I've used Stamperia Cosmos and Stamperia FOrest for the other ones. Now, I will have 5 more of the Imagine and 5 more of the FOrest papers coming. So if you want me to put you a kit aside using either of those 2 options and send it to you after all this fun and games is over, then I can absolutely do that. So I've got another 5 of each coming, and I think there's about 6 Cosmos left as well. So there are still opportunities to get the kit if you want to. So what I want to do now is cut the front and back covers. Now I really like this paper, so I'm just going to cut this at 4 1/4 just to fit, but I'm going to guess most of it. So let's have a look. 4 1/4. Oh, this is fun, because I only want to use a certain bit of it. I'm having to budge it a bit, because I don't want to lose. This is the trouble with this paper. I don't want to lose all these bits because I can use them elsewhere. So I'm having to just just gonna cut those bits off that I want. Right, so that's going to be 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. Four and a quarter. Let me just check the size. By 4 1/4. Okay, so that's going to be my front piece. So that is 4 1/4 inches square. I'm going to put that to one side. I'm now going to cut this one at 4 1/4 inches, because I want this lassie on the back. Okay, so that's going to be my back page. Now, what I haven't done, because I'm a bit dim, is I haven't brought up the sizes. I can remember actually. We need to decide on a piece that we're going to use for the spine of our book. And if this is 4 1/4 inches, which it is, for the spine, we need a piece that is 4 1/4 by 2 1/2 inches. Okay. We'll score all these in a minute, this spine bit that we need. But at the moment, we have got the front and the back, 4 1/4 inches squared. And we've got our spine, which is 4 1/4 inches by 2 1/2 inches.
Are we cutting the paper in half vertically or horizontally?
You're cutting the paper in half horizontally. So this is your piece of paper, your piece of 8 by 8. This is the top, this is the bottom. You're cutting it straight across. So that's like landscape, horizontally. Does that make sense?
You're cutting it across the middle.
Yeah, I'm cutting across the middle. But I'm cutting it across the middle east to west.
Yeah, that's across the middle. Horizontally.
Yeah, I don't know. This is all too technical for me. Right, okay, so what I'm going to need as well is inside our book, we need to look at these bits here, which go behind the pocket. So I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces at, I think I'm going to use these at 4 1/4. Or will I? Oh, decisions. Oh, I'm going to use this. Right, at 4 1/4. I'm just going to tidy that bit up. This doesn't matter if it's the wrong way around. It doesn't matter at all. Okay, so that's going to be one side. And let's have a look what else I've got.
And it'll apply one to that answer.
Do you know what? By the time, if you're worried about it and you've cut it vertically, not horizontally, in all honesty, by the time you've finished decorating it, nobody's gonna know. Because, and I'll show you why, I bet you haven't noticed this. This is my Cosmos book, right? Pages are in. It's not finished yet, pages are in. Looks all right, isn't it? But have you seen? You haven't seen, I'll guarantee this. But the back of my spine, I actually used the inside cover of the paper where you could see the brand name and everything. And if you look really, really close here, you can see that that's the brand name bit there, but it doesn't show because that's not what you're looking at. Does that make sense? So if you've cut it the wrong way round, don't worry, because you just won't notice. You just won't.
Can you use plain paper for the hingey thing?
You absolutely can use plain paper for the hingey thing. That's not a problem at all. You're not going to see a lot of that because you're going to cover a lot of that up. Right, so what was I doing? Hinges. Right, hinges are, I want you to cut 2 at 2 by 8 inches. Okay, and then I was just going to do a bit of the back. I'll worry about that in a minute. Right, okay, so you can put your trimmer away for a minute. And I want you to get out your scoreboard. Okay, so we've cut all of these bits of paper out, but don't worry about them, because there's quite a few bits. I'm going to take it step by step now. So the first thing I want you to do is get your spine piece, which is this one, which is 4 1/4 by 2 1/2 inches. And I want you to decide which way round you want the spine to be. And whichever way round you want the spine to be, I want you to turn the paper over so that the spine is actually going to be sitting on the scoreboard. Now we're going to score on the 2 1/2 inch side, and for those of you that haven't done this before, what that means is that we're going to put the 2 1/2 inch side at the top of our scoreboard. Okay, you'll have to excuse me, I haven't got my glasses on, so I can't see what you guys are writing. Hi Susan. Ruth, don't you worry at all. Hi Lou. So what I'm going to say to Mark is that he's going to have to tell me when you're asking me questions, because I don't know. But are we all right?
I've been answering.
He's been answering. Oh God, heaven help us all. Right, okay, so what we've got here is we've got the spine, and we've got the spine with the 2 1/2 inch at the top. We ready? I want you to score at 1/2 inch. Don't press down too hard, because we're not using Tyvek in this book. I don't want you to go through your paper. So you've scored at 1/2 inch. You're scoring at 3/4 of an inch. and you are scoring at 1 inch. You are going to score at 1¼ inches. You can see the pattern. You are going to score at 1½ inches, and you are going to score at 1¼ hang on, I can't even, sorry, 1½ inches, 1¾ inches, and at 2 inches. So you have scored at 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, 1¼ inches, 1½ inches, 1¾ inches, and at 2 inches. So what you've got here is your spine. You've got a 1/2 inch flap on either side, a 1/2 inch wing, and then you've got score lines incrementally at 1/4 inch. And all that's going to do is it's just going to make it really easy to make a round spine. Okay? So you've scored at 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, 1¼ 1½ 1¾ and at 2. Okay, dead easy. All right, is that all right? So what I want you to do now is I want you to get your chipboard pieces. And what we're going to do is we are going to attach these directly to the spine. So I want you to get some glue. I did have some glue earlier. And I want you just to put some glue on that first 1/2 inch flap. So the bit that goes from the edge to that first score line at 1/2 inch, okay? So just put some wet glue on there. Then what I want you to do is I want you to line up your piece of chipboard up to that first score line. This isn't very clear to see, I know, but I want you to just put it up to the first score line, which I can't even see myself. And glue that down, okay? So we have now got our spine attached up to that first score line, so 1/2 inch of paper there has been attached with wet glue onto the chipboard. This is the outside cover of our book, okay? Then what we're going to do is exactly the same with the back cover. So put some white glue up to the line. And we are going to attach the back cover up to that first score line. Just make sure I've got that right. Yep, it's difficult to see with these papers. So there is my front and back cover, my spine. This is the inside of the book, and that is the outside of the book, okay? So that my book will fold like that. All right? Okay, are we all right with that? Then what I want you to do is, if you lay your book down flat like this with the spine on the top, this right hand side, that is going to be the front of your book. The left hand side is going to be the back of the book. So if you get these pieces that we've already cut out to be the front and back of our book, what we're going to do is we are going to glue them directly on top of the chipboard. So if you want to get some wet glue, I use wet glue, you can use tape if you like.
When you glued it on, did it go right up to the score line or just a hair before?
It went right up to the score line, although either's fine, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, pretty much right up to the score line. So I put some wet glue on my cover, right hand side being the front of the book, and I'm just going to glue that down on top. That is going to be the front cover of my book. Okay? Now I'm going to get the back cover, if I can remember which bit I chose, that one. And I'm going to attach it in exactly the same way to the left-hand side of my book, which is the back cover. Okay, so that is the front and back part of my book done. Okay, now while that's drying, we're just going to put that to one side. Okay, and what we're going to do next is we're going to work on the binding system. So what I want you to do next is I want you to get the 2 pieces of card or paper that you've cut, that is 2 inches by 8 inches. I did cut them. I don't know where they've gone. I did definitely cut them. Oh, here they are.
Larissa asked if you could show the rest of the pages in the Forest album when you have a chance.
I certainly will do, but I have actually got photographs of every page as well. So I'll put those all in the group in an album, every single one of them. Okay? But yes, I can do that, Larissa, no problem at all. So these are my hinges. These are 2 by 8 inches. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to grab my scoreboard. Stick those down, they're not sticking. And I'm going to score on the 8-inch side, which means that the 8-inch side is on the top. And I am going to score at 1 inch. Don't press down too hard. I am going to score at 2 inches. I am going to score at 3 inches. Now listen carefully, because the next score line is at 3 1/8 of an inch. It is a really, really tiny gusset, but it's more of a guide. It'll become clear. Okay, so we've just scored at 3 1/8 of an inch. I now want you to score at 4 1/8 of an inch, at 5 1/8 of an inch, and I want you to score at 5 1/4 inches. You'll see the pattern. I then want you to score at 6 1/4 inches, and I want you to score at 7 1/4 inches. Okay, get your other piece, and we're going to score in exactly the same way. So we are going to score at 1 inch, at 2 inches, at 3 inches, and at 3 1/8 of an inch. We are then going to score at 4 1/8 of an inch, and at 5 1/8 of an inch. We're going to score next at 5 1/4 inches, at 6 1/4 inches, and at 7 1/4 inches. Now, although those are unusual measurements for us, it is actually a hidden hinge binding system. It just looks at this point a little bit different, but bear in mind that the principles are very, very, very similar, and it will make it a whole lot easier for us to manage. Okay, so don't be scared by these weird sort of measurements that we're scoring, because actually it is no different to a hidden hinge. We have got an inch hinge and 1/4 of an inch gusset. Okay, that makes sense. They're actually, it's exactly the same process, it's just that the measurements are different. So that first inch that we have scored actually is the wing that we're going to use to attach the binding system to our book. So I'm going to grab my first bit of binding here, and that I'm going to fold that way, because that is what is going to attach to my book. So here, because bear in mind that I've just turned my, oh, everything's falling off. Hang on. I'm having a slight avalanche here. When I scored that way down. Now I'm turning my paper over. Okay. So this is my wing. So that is 1 inch. Then I've got the next fold. So I've got a valley fold and a mountain fold, which will take me down here to the next score line, which is the start of our 1/8 of an inch gusset. Okay, because it's a really, really narrow gusset. It's just 1/8 of an inch. Okay. So let me show you again and it'll become clearer. I've got the wing, which is the bit that we always attach to the book. Hi, Diane. I've got my first hinge, which is literally just like that. And there you can see I've got my first gusset. So now I'm going to fold that way so that I've got my second hinge. I'm going to fold my 1/8 of an inch gusset, which I've just folded wrong, but it doesn't matter. You can use your bone folder if you like, but this is just so small. I'm just going to do it in my hands with my epoxy nails. Okay, and we'll just leave that bit there. In a minute we'll come to shut that down. So what I've got here is I have got 3 hinges with 1/8 of an inch gusset. You wait till I get onto the flaps, Larissa. So we've got the 3 hinges, which are 1 inch hinge and 1/8 of an inch gusset. So it's exactly the same as how we normally make hidden hinge binding. It's just different measurements. Does that make sense?
Same but different.
Same but different. So what we're going to do now is we're going to glue these hinges together. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue. And I'm just going to glue that hinge together. Okay. There's my first hinge. Let's glue the second one together. And the third one. I think it'll all start to become much, much clearer now. So it's exactly the same process as our normal hidden hinge. We have got 3 hinges with 1/4 of an inch gussets. Okay?
Mel says cute hinges, Mrs. Summers.
Thank you, Melanie. I do have cute hinges.
Well, I did say, you betcha.
All right, so what we're going to do with the other one is exactly the same. So we've got our, oh, I can't see, I've put my glasses on now and I wish I hadn't. Just want to make sure that we've got our 1/4 of an inch gusset. Right, I'm doing this one the other way round so that I've got my inch wing there. Oh, I've done that wrong. Then I've got my hinge and I've got my 1/4 of an inch gusset. I've got my next hinge. Oh, I can't do this. I can't see what I'm doing. Okay. Exactly the same. Are you all following this?
Oh, I'm about to take your seat at the moment.
Okay. So I'm going to glue that together again. All of those hinges. So it's exactly the same as the way that we do our normal hidden hinge. Like I said, it's just different measurements.
Is it a 1/8 or a 1/4 gusset?
It's a 1/8 of an inch gusset. The 1/4 of an inch, I think, has come from the point at which we scored it. So you were scoring at... Sorry, I'm distracted by Mel and Kerry going on about gussets. Flipping heck. Right, so... So when we were scoring, we scored at 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 3 1/8 of an inch. So that between 3 and 3 1/8 of an inch, that is our gusset. Then we scored at 4 1/8, 5 1/8, 5 1/4. So between 5 1/8 and 5 1/4 is 1/8 of an inch. Then we scored at 6 1/4 and 7 1/4. I think that makes sense vaguely. Yes. I don't know. I had to do that with my eyes closed, so that I couldn't see what Kerry and Melanie were going on about, because, you know, distracting. Anyway. Oh, Larissa, I'll tell you what then. If he would like to take the class next time, he can do that. He absolutely. I'm happy to let somebody else do it. Right, so we've got these two hinges, but we actually need them to be one. So what we're going to do now is we are going to glue them together. So I am going to, let me just see which way around this is. I am going to just chop off that end there. I'm going to regret this. Don't do this until you've watched me do it, for goodness sake, because it's all going to go wrong. Okay, so we've got those three. We've got those three hinges there. What we need to do is attach this one. Let's just make sure we've got that little 1/8 of an inch gusset there. Should have. And I'm going to glue this bit that we've got spare to that there. Okay, so what I've got now is I have got my, ooh, it's all come apart. I have got my binding with 6 hinges and 1/8 of an inch gussets. Okay, can you see those? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hinges, all with 1/8 of an inch gussets. Okay, right, now we're going to glue it onto our book. So we've got the cover, turn it over. Okay, we want that bit showing, we want the chipboard. And what we're going to do is we are going to attach this hinge right in the middle like that. Now you can measure it. I'm not good at measuring. We are cutting off 1 of the 3/4 and yes, that sounds about right to me, Melanie. I can't remember if in the tutorial I put an extra 1/8 of an inch in one of them. I can't remember. I might have done, but we can bodge it. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to attach this right in the middle, okay, like that, so that it's flat, but it is kind of, it doesn't need to pull between the two pieces of card, it just needs to be flat. So I'm just going to put some wet glue, not all the way across, but just on the edges of the hinge like that, and I'm going to attach it to the middle here. Now I'm just going to take it out of shot a minute just to make sure that I've got it. That looks roughly right to me. Does it look roughly right to you? And I'm just going to attach that like that there. Okay, so that's glued on now. That is our hinges glued on, and we're just going to leave that for a second. Now if we grab those bits that we cut for the inside covers, and we're just going to glue those. Don't worry about having a bit of a gap here because we're going to make this into a pocket. So I'm just going to glue that on, covering up this bit of the hinge so you can't see it, okay? We're going to do the same on the other side there as well. So we're gluing that over the top of our hinges so it all looks nice and tidy. Okay? What? Mel? Do you know, Larissa, I would absolutely love to do proper bookbinding. I think whilst we're all, you know, hanging around at home, I think that's something that I'm going to learn. So I will be coming to him for help. That'll teach him, because I would love to do that. Absolutely love to do it. There may be some confusion over the hinges attaching together. Why are you lost? What's the problem? It's only doing hinges exactly the same way as we've always done hinges. We're just attaching two bits together to make one because our paper's only 8 by 8. You might be right, Larissa. Hi, Glenda. Right. We'll do it again. I'm going to get some white card. And I'm going to do it with a black pen. Right, so I'm just going to cut 2 bits of white card for now. At 2 by 8 inches. So this is what you need. You need 2 pieces of card or pattern paper or whatever it is that you're using that are 2 by 8 inches, okay? Right, these are our hinges. Then I want you to get your scoreboard, and we are going to score, and I'm going to do it with a pen. Don't look at what my pen says, it's got rude words on it. We are going to score at 1 inch. Ooh. At 2 inches. This isn't working. At 3 inches, I thought it would, but it's not. At 3 1/8 of an inch. At 4 1/8 of an inch. 5 1/8 of an inch. And 5 1/2 inches. At no 5 1/4 inches. Now I'm confused.
I have talked more about it.
And then 6 1/4 inches. 7¼ inches. And just to make this super easy, we'll just have one more at 7 3/8 of an inch. All right, so this is what we've got, and we're going to do exactly the same. Why are you laughing? Right, who's got the gin? Who had the gin? Because, you know, send it my way, please. Right, 1 inch. Oh, flipping heck. Turn it over. 1 inch. I'm ruining my scoreboard for you lot. 2 inches. 3 inches. 3 1/8. 4 1/8. 5 1/8. 5 1/4. 6 1/4. 7 1/4. Right. Okay. We'll take this one first. This is the wing. Not because I'm winging it, but just this is the wing. This is what attaches. I've covered this up now. This is what... Kerry, you are going to be at the back of the class if you're not careful. This is what attaches to the book. So this is our wing. This is our hinge. All right? And then this 1/8 of an inch bit here, that's our gusset. Okay? Right, so hinge, gusset, another hinge. This might take two classes now. Gusset, hinge, gusset. Right, chop that bit off. Oh, no, don't actually. No, not yet. All right. So, we've now got 3 hinges and a gusset and a little bit left over. So we're going to glue that. So we've got 3 hinges, okay, with the gussets. Yep. Ooh, I've just been told we've got 900 members in the group. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, I think they'll all be gone by the time we finish this. I haven't even started swearing yet. Right, so, okay, we've got 3 hinges. Is this making it clearer? We'd do a lot better if Mel wasn't talking about gussets. Can you imagine what our retreats are like? Oh, here's Hannah. Hannah will tell you. Well, what else am I meant to call them? I don't know. Gaps? No, that's not much better actually, is it? Hi, Vidya. Right. Okay, so whilst we've been gossiping, I've just folded that up in exactly the same way, all right? So I'm just going to glue that down now. Okay. Oh, it's come undone. Right, this one I'm going to chop off there. I don't need that bit. Okay? But I've still got 3 hinges. This one, see that flap there? Tracy, I do retreats. They go a whole lot better than these classes, to be truthful. Right. Bit of glue. Attach it to there. So I've still got a gusset.
Natalie's asked, have you added an extra gusset on the first page?
Yes, I did with my pen, just to show you, because I think I put it in the tutorial and left it off on when I did the measuring. But basically, what we've got here now is exactly this. We've got 6 hinges and 1/4 of an inch gussets. It's exactly the same as hidden hinge. Look. Okay. Right. Is that better? And then we're going to stick it on our book like that. Okay. Does that help? Is that better? Tracy, I've got 2 left this year. I've just had to cancel one, unfortunately, the scrapbooking one. But I do 2 mini book ones, and one is in Stafford the first weekend in October, and we are making a pop-up book. Although how the heck that is going to go, I have no idea. And the second one is in Warwickshire, and we're making a book which you can see on my YouTube, which is the Tim Holtz one. So, right, okay, are we all clear now? Right, okay, cool. So, we have attached our hinges with gussets by the flaps to our book. And we've put some background paper on the top, because now we're going to make these little pockets to go on here. These aren't pockets like we usually make pockets. These are dead simple pockets. All I have done, oops, oh, I didn't put one on the back there. All I have done is I've cut a piece of paper to fit and just stuck it on with glue. So I'm just going to find some odd bits of paper that I've got left over that are the right width, which is doubtful. I want to keep that.
Gail asked, how did you join again?
How did I join? How did I join it? I've lost it. Oh, here it is. See these 2 wings that we've got here? We've got wings, but we've got the hinges in the middle. I put some glue just to that edge of the hinge on the wing, and just there. And I laid it between my bits of chipboard and just glued it down like that. Oh, Audrey. Are you being sarcastic or serious? I have real trouble telling. Usually, my dad says that things are as clear as mud, and I'm thinking that might be an explanation right now. Okay, so, okay, are we all good to go? Excellent. Right. Okay. So we're going to make these, do you know, I don't even know where we are anymore. We're going to make these little pockets to go on here. So I'm just going to pick some of my paper. It is really important that you remember that you need 6 cutter parts of some description. The trouble with the Cosmos paper is that the cutter parts aren't as obvious. I might use these. So for my, ooh, look, cover. Inside cover, I'm going to cut the pocket from that. So it's going to be, hold on, big trimmers coming out, 4 1/4 inches, because that's the width, plus, oh, I don't know. If you are a mini bookmaker who measures precisely, has everything perfect, I'm probably going to drive you nuts, because a lot of this is guesswork as I go along. So I do apologise profusely. So let's go for, I don't know, 2 inches. 2 inches. That was 4¼ So 4¼ by 2 inches.
Jana's asked, how did you join the hinges?
How did I join the hinges? With glue.
100% glue.
With wet glue. That's not 2 inches. Right. Okay, these are going to form the pockets here. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to run a little bit of wet glue around the outside. Not along the top, because that's the pocket. And I'm going to just pop it on my book like that. Okay? So that bit is open at the top, and I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. Okay. So now I've got my pockets. Right. Before we go any further, we're going to get messy.
What glue do you recommend?
Tracy, you're UK, aren't you? Are you UK?
Oh, Hannah's answered.
Yes, Hannah's answered. Thank you. Yeah, Hannah's absolutely right. I like PVA glue. I use sticks too. I've got some in stock, which is a good thing because I know that their factory's shut down at the moment. I have, if everything goes wrong and we end up in our houses for the rest of our lives, I just want you to know that I've got glue. I have got huge amounts of glue. So that's how this happened. But anyway, I've got glue. So yeah, I love sticks too, Tracy. I used to absolutely adore the Hobbycraft tacky glue in the yellow pot, but they've changed the recipe of it and it's really watery. I don't know why, because it used to be brilliant. But I do like, I like a thick PVA. So I use this one or this one. I have got them both in the shop. But you can also have well, any sort of, oh God, that's all I need. Any sort of PVA. I'm just about to get the paint out. Anyway, don't sit down. No, don't sit down. Just go away. Oh. Right. Gold glue. I'm glad you think this is funny, Mel. Get some of your gold glue. Now, Wendy Booth, do not eat this. And what we're going to do is we're going to get our fingers and we're going to dip it in the acrylic paint. This is just gold acrylic paint, okay? And we're just going to go around the edges of our book like that. Cover up the chipboard because chipboard's ugly and gold's gorgeous. And we're just going to dab it on. And if it goes over the outside here, that doesn't matter. I've already got gold paint all over it anyway. It doesn't matter. We're just going to dab it on all the way around the outside. And round the spine. Can you hear the cat purring? No. All the way around. So this is what your gold paint was for, Wendy. Across the spine. Oh. I hope you realise the sacrifice that I'm making for you here, because I absolutely hate having stuff on my fingers. Whether it's paint or glue, it doesn't matter. I absolutely hate it with a vengeance. Okay, nearly done. Oh, bit there I didn't glue down very well. Never mind. Okay. Down the spine. Now, if you want to make the outside a bit prettier, you can dab bits in the corner. Dab it around, because gold paint is gorgeous and it just shimmers everywhere. So just feel free to dab it over where you like. Add a bit of interest. Oh, this reminds me of a Klimt now. Gustav Klimt. I like him. And remember, there is no such thing as a mistake. It's just an opportunity to embellish. So I'm just going to put a little bit on my spine just to highlight it. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to do the same on the inside here. Just a little bit of gold paint, just to brighten it up a bit. Put a little bit along the pocket maybe. Ugh. Look at that shimmer. Oh, so
Bling,
pretty.
bling.
So pretty.
Larissa says you are creating a masterpiece.
I am.
Melanie Buka says the front of her book just became the back of the book if you put the insides in upside down.
Oh, doesn't matter. Don't worry about it, Melanie. It happens all the time. In fact, is Sue Cass still here? Because she can tell you a few things about putting pages in upside down. Right. Okay. So there we go. I'm done with that bit. So I'm going to put that somewhere to dry where it's not going to get catted. And if you don't mind, for 2 seconds, can you just entertain yourselves? This is like the intermission where you can get ice cream or wine or something, because I have to go and wash my hands because I can't bear this. So Mark will sing for you while I just go and wash my hands. I won't be long.
Baby shark. Do, 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 do.
Right, now ideally we need to leave that a bit of a while to dry, but we'll see how we go. So we've got the cover done so far, so what we need to do is put that to one side, and now we can work on the pages. Oh, just dry my hands off. Right, we have got 6 pages here that are 4 by 8 inches, and what we're going to do is we're going to fold them in half. You can score this if you want to. You can score it at 4 inches on the 8-inch side, or you can just do it this way because it's just easier. So I'm just going to fold it, find the middle, and just fold it down there. Make sure I've got a really good sharp crease. Okay, and that is actually one of our pages, and we're going to do that on each of them. Can you guys hear Storm snoring? They say never work with cats and children. Can you move your paw? Thank you. She's gonna have to go. You're just in the way. Oh, got gold fingers. Gold finger.
What make is your scoring tool, dear?
This particular, what, my board or my bone folder? My scoreboard is forgotten. My bone folder is We Are Memory Keepers, and it's brilliant. It's a big bone folder, and haven't we had some fun with big boners, ladies? It's a big bone folder by We Are Memory Keepers. I'm not sure if I've got any in stock. I think there's a couple maybe left, but they also do a slightly smaller version. But I am rather fond of this one, but it doesn't half get filthy. I don't know why it gets so dirty, but it really does. But I rather like this. The scoreboard, EK Tools. That's it. EK Tools.
Losing the writing.
So, I'm going to have to move this cat. Can you move? Oh, yeah, but she looks so comfy. Look. I'm sorry, but she's going to have to go. She's just in the way.
She's already clawed me once.
Oh, dear.
Come on.
See you later, baby. Oh, God.
Helicopter cat. Come here.
Oh, God. Okay. Right, so we've got our pages. Now, I don't know how dry this is. I might end up with everything covered in gold paint, but I'm going to have to learn to live with it. And what I want you to do now is we're actually going to find a way to attach our papers to the book. So, this is the way that I found the easiest. You're going to need a pencil or a pen. I'm going to use a pen so that you can see my marks. And I'm going to take one of my pages. I'm going to pop it here. Make sure it's equal top to bottom. I'm going to butt it up to where the hinge is. And I'm going to make a mark, which is right in the black bit, where the hinges start and finish. Okay? Can you? Well, you can't see that one very well, but I've made a mark there and there where the hinges start and finish. Okay? I'm covered in gold paint now. I'm just going to grab my mat because we are going to need a ruler and a knife for this bit.
No.
So I'm going to open up my page again, and I'm going to just make a mark where that first hinge mark is and to the second. The reason why I make these holes here is actually it makes it easier when I'm cutting because I can feel where the start and finish is. So I'm now, you're going to get the top of my head now, I am sorry, but it's important that I get this right. I am now going to cut along that fold between those two marks that I made. So I have now got a slit in my page. Can you see that? I've got a slit in my page. Like that. Between those two marks that I made. Okay? Then what happens is we slip this hinge, and I'm working from the back forwards just because that works for me. I'm going to slip that hinge through that page like that, okay? So we've got a page in. It slips right up to the start of that gusset, that 1/8 of an inch gusset that we've got, okay? Now, if we just leave it like this, this page is going to keep coming out. So what we have to do is we have to choose from our papers whether it is a cut apart, whether it's a tag. There's lots of tags here. There's some cut aparts I had somewhere. Here. Whatever that is, I have to decide how or what I'm going to cut out to attach to here so that my page doesn't come out. And I think I am going to use, oh, I don't know. I don't know whether to use the tags. I think I will use the tags. And I'm going to just cut these out. Now I should have done this with the trimmer really, but I'll just use my scissors.
Scissors are good.
Okay, so I've got my tag. What I need to do is attach my tag to that bit of the hinge so that this can't pull out. Okay, I think that makes sense. So now what I'm going to do is get rid of the cat hairs and find my glue. And I'm just going to pop some glue onto the top side of that hinge, that 1 inch hinge that we've got. And I'm going to attach that equal distance top to bottom and a little bit away from where the fold that goes into the gusset is. It's probably about 2/8 of an inch or so away. Can you see there? I've actually attached it to that hinge, so now that page can't come out, but it's still got some give in it. Okay, so here for example, just getting this book out, this bit that I haven't done at the back will make better sense. What I did here on the forest one was I just chose some of the motifs and I tore a strip or a picture, a background here for each page, and I attached that to the hinge so that my pages can't pull out, but they've got some give. Okay, got some give there again. You can see I've ripped out a motif. In the forest papers, you'll see that actually these are like bits that are already, they're kind of like tags, but I've just torn them rather than cut them, okay? And that's how we attach, that's how we make sure that our pages stay in the book, okay? So that's my first page in. I'm just going to fold that down and I'm going to get my next page. I'm going to lay it on top of the one that I've just added in. Make sure that it's exactly the same place, like north to south. Just butt it up to that hinge there. Needless to say, I've now lost my pen. And I'm going to make a mark again where those two hinges, where that hinge meets my page. So I'm going to open up my page. I can see where my marks are. For me, I found the easiest way to do this is to pop in a hole there and a hole there where I'd made my marks. That made sense because you can, when you're cutting it, you can feel it. You can feel how far you have to go. So I'm going to cut. I have to stand up to do this because I can't see. I'm going to have to cut. Sorry, you're going to get the top of my head now. Sorry, guys. Right down the fold. I haven't got that far enough. Right down the fold, so that I've got that split in the paper there. Okay. And once again, I'm going to go back to my book. I am going to slip the hinge through that slit there, like that. Fold it down and cut out my next tag. If you want to ink the edges, ink the edges. It's entirely up to you, obviously. I'm going to now pop a little bit of glue onto that hinge there. And I'm going to put my tag on top there. But it isn't going to go all the way to the fold of the paper. I'm going to leave a little bit of room, probably a couple of, you know, an 8. What's 2/8 of an inch? 1/4 of an inch, isn't it? Yeah. Slightly less than 1/4 of an inch, I would say. Okay, so my tag is now preventing that page from coming out, but there is some give on it. Okay? All right, so that's 2 pages in. And we're going to carry on doing that with each of the pages. Let me just see what I've already put in. I haven't put... Okay, so next one, once again, I'm butting my page up to the hinges, making a mark that I can see. I like to say I can see. I can't see at all. I'm just going to make myself a mark there. I'm just thinking if I use my other ruler I might be able to see what I'm doing. No, I need a clear ruler. So I'm just going to make that cut. Once again there. This one's going to be, you have to be a bit more careful with this one because this is the one with the additional bit on that we glued on so that our hinges stuck together. Just wiggle it a bit and it'll go on. Okay. Cut that out. I'm going for the rustic look. A little bit of glue. Add that. And so on and so forth. I'm going to have to do them all because we've got other bits that we need to do before I let you all go. Oh, sorry, I hope you didn't see that rude word on my pen. I'm going to get into trouble. When I upload this to YouTube, I'll have to say, not suitable for children. Actually, that's the thing as well. If you do come to one of the retreats, just bear in mind that I'm holding back at the moment quite a lot. My vocabulary is not huge. I think one of the worst things about these is just trying to choose which bits to use, because these papers are so utterly gorgeous with so many fantastic bits in. It is nigh on impossible to choose which bits to use. Okay, nearly there.
Tracy's has to do, you have to watch our language on retreats.
God, no. Absolutely not. I don't ever watch my language. You've got no idea how well behaved I am in these lives. Because face-to-face classes are not quite the same. Actually, I must find this photo and put it up from the last retreat. It's got to be my all-time favourite photo. I really must scrapbook it. And it's me trying to explain to the group about how to do... I can't even remember what we were doing. I think it was a pulley-uppy, waterfally thing. And I've got Hannah on one side looking very, very confused. And I've got Wendy and Maggie just... I can't even tell you. This is upside down. Watch which way round you put your pages. But it is the best photograph ever. I can't even remember. I don't know who took it. It can't be me because I'm in it. But it is just the best photo. Now, on the subject of scrapbooking, when all this is over, because we didn't have our International Scrapbook Day retreat, I've turned all of the classes into kits. So I can post out kits from the retreat, which will come with written instructions and video instructions as well. But I'll let you know about those in due course. We have a crop in Stafford on the first Saturday of every month, and because we can't meet together, what we're going to do is have a cyber crop, which is April the 4th, I think, for our next one, in our Crop Central group. But as well as doing it in the crop group, I am going to do a cyber crop in Paper Scissors Story. So if anybody wants to join in with that, you absolutely can. We will also have a International Scrapbook Day celebration, seeing as we can't have our retreat. So there are lots and lots and lots of cool things coming up whilst we are all stuck inside. I have a day job usually when I'm not stuck inside, as well as doing this. And unfortunately, it's getting in the way of my crafting at the moment. I'm working from home. But if they see sense and decide that we don't have to work properly, we can do some daytime crafting as well.
Anna says she loves this shabby mini book. So glad she got the kit.
Oh, I'm so glad. Good. Do you know what? I really like it too. I think it's kind of cute. And you know, you'd be amazed. I worked out, because I sat and worked out how many photos you can fit in it. You can, if you use the little 3x 2-inch photos, you can fit in about 40 or 50 if you're careful and clever. It's absolutely amazing. I had no idea just how many you could fit in there. I was somewhat impressed, I have to say, because it's only a little book, but it does fit an awful lot in it. Right, so I'm just going to put the last page in. Now, I am not going to decorate this whole thing tonight. You can go off and be creative and do your own thing, but I am going to give you a few tips and tricks. So, there we go. That's the book. Those are the pages in. It looks a bit of a mess at the moment. Trust me, it will work out just fine. This is a book with just the pages and no decoration, okay? This is the book with just a bit of decorating done. So it's not full yet, but just bits of decorating, okay? And this is the book that is full of decorating with a beautiful charm and lots of photographs in it, okay? So there's still a long way to go. Now, one thing that I have done to add a bit of interest to these pages is I have added some flips and flaps. So say, for instance, I've got this piece of paper here. It's not quite the right size. Needs to be about 4 inches. I'm just going to cut out a couple of flappy pages so that you can see how to attach those where you want to. So I've got some paper here. And I'm just going to cut this at 4 inches, and I'm going to cut 4 inches square. So just for example, for these flat pages, and they can be as wide as you like, I've got these two that are 4 by 4 inches. If I just grab my scoreboard and I score them at 1/2 inch, say for instance, I've got a 1/2 inch flap there, and I'm going to do the same on that side. I now have some extra space in my book. So I've got these 2 little mini pages, and I can just add them wherever I fancy. I would put them on the outside bits of your paper, not necessarily on the inside bits where our extra tags are there. I'd put them, say, somewhere like that. So I'm just going to put some glue on that page there, on that flap there. And I'm going to attach it to my book there. So I've got an extra page. Okay? I've got this one here as well. You know what? I'm going to put that the other way around so that I can attach that to that page there. Which way you fold your flaps will depend on which way, you know, where you want to. Actually, I'm going to do it on this one. Let's do it in the back a bit. There. And you can put as many of these extra little flippy flappy pages in as you like. It's entirely up to you. For example, in the Forest book, here's one I popped in, and that's just given me some extra space for my photos.
What's this paper again? Is it Cosmos?
This paper is the Forest.
Oh, the Forest.
This one that I've used tonight is Imagine.
This Tracy has got Cosmos stick on.
Yeah, and this is the Cosmos, which I've got to be honest with you, is my favourite. I've made another book with this Cosmos. Mel and I made a book together. We went away last October for the weekend, and we went down to Glastonbury, and you know, it was just an amazing weekend. And we wanted to make a book with our photos in. And this was the paper that we chose, and it's beautiful, beautiful paper. So Tracy, I'm going to finish this book off, and I will take lots and lots of photos of it for you so that you can see how I've done it. But each of the papers has like its own cutter parts, and you can see here I've just added bits in. For instance, this is the bit that holds my page in. Those are some cutter parts from the papers, but I've still got my flaps that I've added in just for a bit of extra space. So you can do that as often as you... Well, that's coming undone. Let me just glue that back in. But you can do that as many times as you've got paper. All right. Now, front and back cover closures. And if you are putting a charm in, you can see I've actually, and I put these in the kits, I've put some eyelets in. Now, I put eyelets in. If you haven't got an eyelet setter, I'm not quite sure how you're going to do it. You might have to just make a hole and then run your stuff through. But just for an example, I'm going to mark those now so that I've done them, so that when I come to decorate up the front of my book, I will know exactly how much space I've got. So I know that this book is 4 1/4, so I'm going to want to put my hole roughly at 2 1/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to make a little mark there so that I know where to put that. Now I'm using a crocodile. Oh, well, I will do if I stop breaking the thing. And I'm just going to make a hole for my eyelet there. Okay. I've just made a hole in my book. Never mind. I did have somewhere safe. I'll just grab some eyelets. I think I'll use gold, because why not? And I'm just going to set that into my book. Okay, so that's the eyelet set for the front. Now I need to set the eyelet on the back. Oh, showing you my rude word pen again. Sorry, I'm going to get into trouble with YouTube for that, for profanities. Now, like I said, Mel, if you haven't got your charm in your pack, it is coming under separate cover. And I'm going to make a hole for mine because I am going to have one. When you're making a hole for your charm, don't do what I did on this first one and make it as far away from the edge as you possibly can, because then you've only got a certain amount of space with your jump ring. So learn from my mistakes, people. So I'm just going to make a little hole there. And I'm just going to set my eyelet ready for when Mel, because she's got to post me one too. Post me my charm. All right. Now, front cover. Ways to use up bits of paper. I love these little like concertina ribbons of paper that I use. I use these quite a lot actually. So you've got one there and you've got one there. Dead easy to make. I am just going to cut a little piece of paper. So let me get my trimmer out. And I think I'll cut a couple of these. Doesn't matter how wide. Just over 1/4 inch maybe. You could have a couple of different widths. I'm just going to cut some paper like that. Okay, so they're what, about 1/2 inch-ish by 8 inches. And then to make that ribbon, just decide which side of the paper you want. You literally, all I'm doing is just folding it with my fingers, just to make that concertina. That's all I'm going to do. Now, sometimes I've sewn these on my sewing machine. You can do that if you want to. But with the trouble I've had with sewing machines lately, I just don't even feel like it. So now I've got my little ribbon of paper, which I can use to add a bit of interest to the front of my book. So say, well, actually that's not the best one because it's not very different in colour. It's a bit long as well, but we'll, anyway. So what I want to do now is find bits that I can use to decorate the rest of my cover. Now here on these really nice Imagine papers, I knew that there was a whole load of writing on the back. I mean, this bit here, I think I really rather like that. And I like the bit above it. So I'm going to cut out those sentiments. when I fussy cut, I don't tend to cut right up to the edge. I tend to leave a tiny sort of like edging. I think it's because I'm a scrapbooker and I mat everything. But I just think it gives you a bit of a differentiation. Is there anybody still with me? I mean, are you still making this? Or have you given up and you're going to come back to it another day? Have I blinded you with too much science? Or have you all drunk too much wine? In which case, you're rotters and you might have waited for me. Okay, so I've got a couple of sentiments there that I liked. I know earlier on tonight I had the lace. Here it is. So I can cut out bits of the lace that I like. Just going to cut those bits off. Let's have a look. Okay, and I've got my sisal as well somewhere, which I had earlier on today and I've now lost. Oh, here it is. And I've got doilies, but the doilies that I ordered, the second lot, are too big. So I'm not going to use that for now. But anyway, I've got my little bits of sisal. And now I just need to decide how I want to do my cover. I don't think, because of this paper, I don't think it's actually going to need a lot on it at all.
There's quite a few still making.
Good. Right. Now, one of the things that I like to do is I'm not overly keen on foam pads. So I tend to use bits of leftover chipboard to hire things up. Now, I want this to be my focal point, but this is getting a bit lost on the background. So I think what I want to do is just hire it up a little bit. So I'm going to, I don't know, am I out of thingy? Oh, this is covered in cat hairs. Oh, hello. Yeah, Loki's come now. I'm just going to attach that up there. And my ribbon. Oh, I'm running out of glue. Attach that to the bottom bit there. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Okay, I'm going to stick a bit of lace. Hello, Loki. Yes.
Rocky.
Pop that there. I've got my sisal. just trim that down a bit. I'm going to just add that. That wasn't me making that noise, it was my glue. There. And this one I'm just going to pop up onto some chipboard. Quite a bit of glue on that because it's got to go through the sisal. Sorry guys, I'm going to have to just take this off a minute there. I'm just going to hold that down while that sticks. Okay, see, you get the idea. There's all sorts of things that you can do, you know, to decorate your books up. But just as an example, I've cut bits of lace, I've used bits of sisal, I've made the ribbons out of the paper, I've picked out bits of the sentiments out of the paper that I've just cut up and put onto chipboard just to higher it up. I've got all of these cut aparts here, just for example, if I oh god, there's cats just going where they shouldn't go. So I've got this cut apart here, for example, which I'm hoping is the right size, because I'm going to look a bit foolish if it's not. That should fit in there, for example. So I've got some room for my cutter parts. I'm going to decorate these bits up. I'll decorate these bits, just add little bits of interest, and so on and so forth. Now, I don't think I've brought any. Oh yes, I have. Somewhere on my desk I've got some string which I'm going to just use as my closure. So I'm just going to cut a piece. To attach the closure, I've got a loop of thread. I'm going to put it through the back bit of the book here. So that my loop is through there. Then I'm going to attach that through there, and you can see that one piece is longer than the other, but that doesn't matter because in a minute I'll explain why. And then to close it, we're going to put the longer piece through there and then tie a bow. Now just bear in mind that at the moment this book is really thin because I haven't decorated anything up, but you get the idea. That needs to stick down a bit better. So I'll have my charm which goes down there. I've got my closure, and those are the pages in my book which I will decorate up and pop bits in the pocket. So there you go. How we doing? The gold paint tasted yummy. Oh God, Wendy, do you not think that the hospitals have got enough to deal with? Elaine, thank you for joining me. I know you won't hear this until tomorrow, but you know, sisal is it's a organic material, but it is like hay. It's used a lot in floristry, really, for want of a better description, and people who do mixed media use it a lot, and I love it. And I haven't oh, Mel's found the picture. Mel, that picture, do you want to put it up in the main group? If she's still here. Is she still here? I don't know. So, yeah. Anyway, she's still here. Mel, put that picture, because that picture, oh, Sarah as well. Sarah, so I just love it. It's got to be my favourite ever photo. So there we go. So there's my little book. You can see, can you see that all right there? I will finish it. I will take photos of all 3 books. Hang on. Just try and pretend that I was tidy for a minute. I will take close-up photos of all 3 books for you so you can see them properly, but that's using all 3 of the papers that I had in the kits. But any papers, as you see, any papers will work for this.